Okay, welcome to the Scout quick video. Today we're looking at the projects page. Use the project functionality after the unit's been on site for, let's say, about 2 weeks. That's a good minimum. And then you go to the scout.energy website, you log into your profile and you click on projects. This page will pop up. You can then manually add a project over here, and here it's generated a project for me. I can then click on view project to start editing. So first off, you select the monitor that's in on this site. I've got an admin profile, so I've got a few monitors here, but I'll select the demo monitor that's available on anybody's profile. Then you select your installation date and time. So let's say, well, this monitor is running all the time, but let's say I installed it on the Sunday the 1st of May. Select time, let's say I installed it at 6 in the morning, and I took the monitor out on the 15th. Let's say I took it out till 11. Cool. So then your date range will change here on the left, and you will see all the consumption on the different clamps for the date range. Next, you need to choose your CT, current clamp configuration, to do your solar sizing. So this depends, it's site dependent, what did you use on clamp 1, 2 and 3. So click here on change current clamps. So on the screen you can label each one. So let's say on this site CT1 was the mains, CT2 is the geyser, and CT3 is the stove. If I save here, you will see it changes on screen. You can then see for each day how that appliance or that circuit consumed electricity. So this page is where the solar installer needs to make a few decisions, and he needs to talk to the homeowner or business owner that is looking for an installation. It will be site dependent, it will be based on the goals of the client. So let's say over here I can convince the client to take his geyser off and get a solar geyser. Then I can select this current clamp and deduct it, if I select here, from the total kilowatt hours. I can do the same here if he said okay, he's putting in a gas stove. This means CT3 and CT2 will now be deducted from CT1. I can then design a solar system based on the remaining loads, which is obviously much more accurate. So this is quite gives you quite a flexible functionality. You can measure 3 different circuits and maybe then only build a solar system for one circuit if you wanted. But in this instance, I'm on CT1. I'm going to deduct these because I've convinced him to go to gas and solar, dedicated solar geyser, and then I can click save. So this graph stays the same at the moment, but we're working on changing that, so it changes with that and with your settings. And then this one changed, so that's the highest recorded peak. Yeah, so that's on my main incomer with these 2 circuits deducted. Next, I choose a system type. Backup is a battery and inverter solution, no panels. Hybrid / off-grid is a hybrid or off-grid solar system with panels. So I'm going for hybrid. Yeah. Components. If you choose premium components, you will, well, doesn't matter which one you choose, it will size a solar system for you. But if you want a suggestion of a specific system, you can add or you click on premium, and it will then also suggest a Victron system for you. And if you click on affordable, it will also size a day system for you. If you use other hardware, that's also possible. You'll just work with the numbers given. Then I leave this on single phase, because I've set this up as a single phase monitor. If you click 3-phase here, it will override these settings here because it needs to use all 3 current clamps, and you only click on 3-phase if you've set up your S3 Scout as a 3-phase unit, and yeah, then you'll do a 3-phase sizing. But today we're doing a quick single phase. Then you've got advanced settings over here. Here you can add a client name, then it will save your project as that specific name. You can add some client details to remember it later. You can also add some location details like the address. Be specific here. The azimuth, that's the roof angle, or if it's facing north, tilt is the actual roof angle, and then azimuth is 0 means it faces north. Okay, I'm not going to go into details there just yet. You can click there and add that. Then you've got 3 sliders. So this is where you need to sort of play around a bit, experiment, use the data, and make good decisions. It's very important that the so that's why we can't create a sizing for you. We don't know what's on site. We don't know what the goal of the client is. We don't know exactly what you want to achieve. So the solar installer needs to use these 3 sliders to suggest the correct system. So let's say on this site, for the remaining loads, my client says he wants 8 hours of battery backup. Then I can just move the slider to 8 hours. It will then take his average consumption and suggest a battery bank that will last 8 hours. If I need more info, I can click on this little question mark here. Inverter size. If I leave this on 100%, the inverter will match, if you look on the left here, the highest peak measured. So the highest peak measured was a 6 kilowatt. This means it will probably suggest a 8 kVA inverter. Now this is where you need to do some investigation. Maybe like in this site we've got 2 outlying days. What happened on those days? That's where you can use the monitoring page to establish what caused the peaks. If that was a once off, you might then say, okay, well, that was a once off, and then you can change your date, your date range to not include that outlier, or you can change your inverter size to say, okay, well, then I'm going to size it 80% of the maximum peak that was recorded, and that's my inverter size. So I'll leave this on 100 for now. Then a PV array size. If this is on 100, it means the PV array will produce the same amount of power that was consumed on average per day in the monitoring period. So once again, just to get a basic sizing, I'm going to leave it on 100. I'm going to return to this page. So I can accept the terms and conditions, just read them over there, and I can generate a sizing. So this is the most important page. This is where you use your experience in the industry and you talk to the clients and find out exactly what they need. So the first graph here gives you a consumption versus solar production breakdown. Your next one is your daily sizing view. So this is important. Basically the yellow is how much solar the system will generate. So the system will generate, let's say, 16 kilowatt hours per day. My battery bank is 5.3 kilowatt, that's suggested. The loads are 6 kilowatts, and that's the day loads, and then my evening loads when the sun's not shining is 10. So the basic goal of most hybrid systems will be to generate enough solar power to fill the battery, which is 5.3, and also cover the day loads. So yeah, that together gives about 12 kilowatt. I'm generating 15.9. So I've got a bit of a safety factor in. Also important to note, when did you do the energy monitoring? Was it in winter? Was it in summer? Again, you can change your sliders based upon that. So this is a pretty good system. So I can go down and I can see my inverter operating capacity. So the suggested inverter at the bottom here will operate in these sections. 75% of the time it will only use 0 to 25% of its capacity. So this inverter won't work too hard. It's in a good spot here. There's 1 or 2 peaks. It's going to push it over here, but it's not a problem. If I, for instance, have a much too small inverter and I generate, you will see that graph change. 25% of the time my electricity consumption is above the inverter capacity. Then I know the inverter is too small. and I can go back. So the idea is to move the sliders, generate the sizing, look at the data, and then change your sliders, go back and forth till you find the system that you are happy with and that your client is happy with. So over here, I'm going to go on a, let's say, just go for the safest system, 100% inverter, 100% solar, 8 hours battery, and I'm going to generate my sizing. So I'm generating 16, covering load 12. I've got a bit of extra kilowatt hours built in there. It's maybe a bit oversized, but that's fine. And I then get an estimated installer breakdown of the main components. This is what the system will cost you as an installer from a distributor. It is just a ballpark figure, just so that you can put a number to the system size. And you only see this so you can tell your client, okay, the system might be 160,000. You know, you can add your margin. We are building a quote functionality that will be added soon, but at the moment this is just to give you an indication of a ballpark of the 4 main components. Then here's your system recommendation. The inverter is a 6.2 kilowatt. The battery is a 5.32. The panels 3,500 watts. So based on this information, you can then choose your hardware. We also then, because you selected affordable or premium hardware, we just have a component recommendation here. So in this instance, it is a Quattro 8000 from Victron, Freedom 1 battery, a 10/8, Victron Smart Solar MPPT, the 250/70, and 10 Jinko panels, 375 watts. So you've got a bit of a thing. Then you can order all of these items from Cedar Solar. Yeah. And then if you want to download the report to send to your client with a quote, you can click here, download report. If you want Cedar Solar to quote on the hardware components, you can download the report and just email to your customer rep at Cedar Solar, and they will do a quote for you on the hardware. This report really works well. We've seen that solar installers that add this to their quotes close more deals, and we also see that they build trust with customers quickly. Once the scout is in and you provide feedback through the monitoring phase, and then you provide the project report, you've already built up a good relationship with the client, and the client can see that you're using a data-driven approach, which sets you apart from the average solar installer out there.